Hi, everybody. Today is Wednesday, June 3rd. This is Daniel Busch with POV Pool. In every sport, at every level, a competitor who's looking to improve his or her skill should look at mental focus. Does the mental focus separate the shortstop from the professional pool player? When a competitor has all the fundamentals, knowledge, and skill, what will separate him or her from being a top-level player? The mental game of pool is not something that people focus on a lot, but in truth, they should. Today on POV Pool, we have one of the world's best competitors with us and top players in the game coming to us originally from the Netherlands, Niels The Terminator Feijen. Welcome, Niels. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it.
Niels, you've won numerous championships, accolades. You've had recognition for over 20 years now in the game of pool. Four-time MVP for Team Europe on the Mosconi Cup? I think.
Yeah, correct. I'm getting a little old.
Well, we're all standing in the same line, I think, you know.
Yeah.
You are a two-time world champion. You've gotten medal after medal on the Euro Tour in Europe, and your resume just goes on and on. All that being said, you're probably one of the best qualified people in the world to discuss what it takes to be a professional pool player. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about Terminator College. You just started this up.
Well, yeah, like Daniel, like you say, I had the idea in the pool world for many years. I was looking around, of course, and I've been a competitor for more than 20 years. And what I always found fascinating about the sport is when you ask people how big the mental side of the game is, everybody would say, oh, it's 80%, it's 90%, it's so big. And I was looking around myself for years, and I saw hardly anybody do anything with this, train this, right? And it was even like, it was almost like you were foolish if you were doing it, or you were kind of like weak, right? That's the biggest thing nowadays. If you are talking about stuff mentally that are not working well, then you show weakness, and for guys, that's a really big thing. And then I started realizing, you know what? I just think like people are not aware of where to start with their mental game. They don't have the tools. They don't have any clue really what they should work on, how much they should work on it. And I got this idea so for a few years, but of course I was always touring. I was on the road competing, right. So I didn't have much time to really work it out. And I didn't really know what to do with this. And then I went on holiday to Egypt in January, and I was just ready for it. It was amazing. I just had this thing come over me, and I said, you know what? I want to do an online course. I think now is a great time with all the media possibilities, the online course platforms. And I think with 20 to 25 years of experience and working with professional sports psychologists, reading a ton of books, personal development classes, I said I have a lot of information that I can share with pool players to help them out and give them an arsenal to develop their mental skills. And that's how it really started.
How did you, when did you kind of realize that this was a mental process? Because I know, you've been a professional for over 20 years now. Was it before that time you became a professional that we're overcoming the mental side of it? Or was this still a process that you've been going through in the past 20 years?
Well, I was always interested in the mental side of the sport. I remember when I was about 19 years old,
Mhm.
I remember, I think I had a couple of problems with my mental game early on. And, excuse me, I went to the library and looked up some things about the mental side of the game. And there was one book that was called, um, I think it was Mental Support for Athletes or something like this in English.
Okay.
And I read the book, and I thought it was pretty interesting. That was just the first book I read about the mental side of sport.
Hmm.
And of course, the older I got, the more I traveled, the more books I bought, the more things I worked with, got help with, the more arsenal I gathered myself. Um, so yeah, it just made me more complete in experience, knowledge, and what I could share with other pool players.
Hmm. Did you, one of the realizations for me when I was a pool player was I noticed it was an attention span. My attention to the table was something that was weak, and I had to work on that. So, just simply looking at the, contact points of the balls became difficult for me sometimes. And, you know, do you address stuff like that? Do you address things like anger?
Yeah, I think the attention span nowadays is a very important thing because people, they get more and more distracted during the day in general. That's just the way that our society works now with the cell phones and all the
Technology.
notifications, the technology. And I think you have to make choices if you are wanting to get much better at a sport that demands extremely high concentration. You have to work on your focus, and the more distractions you have, the less focus you have. That's just how it works. So if you can start cutting out some of your distractions, your focus will automatically improve. So of course we're looking at focus, and like you say, anger, right? That's a part of the
That's a
third
blocker.
chapter. Sorry.
It's a blocker. It
anger
blocks.
anger, anger is a form of a part of tilt, right? It's anger, frustration, and that leads to bad play, and that's tilt. So in mental match play, the third chapter, we go over a bunch of really cool examples: mistake tilt, opponent tilt, equipment tilt, entitlement tilt, where you feel like you should beat this guy every time, and boom, your focus goes down. So really cool stuff that I also have been experiencing over the years, and that I've
Right.
learned to work with. So there's a ton of stuff in there for all levels, right? From beginners to top professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really complete package. I've really dug deep and got the most out of it. It's 33 videos and slides, workbook, and then at the end you get 30 minutes of Skype with me one-on-one to go
Mm-hmm.
over
Mm-hmm.
things that you could use some steering with yourself. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Did you notice there was a void in the industry for this type of education?
Yeah, I felt there's a ton of really, really good instructional stuff out there on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking like Darren Appleton's videos, the Billiard Brothers with Fedor and Maxime and those boys. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they pump out drills left and right. Torsten's doing a great job. So there is plenty out there to work on your game, but there is zero out there to work on your mental game. And I thought,
Yeah.
like I said, I was just astonished for years. Like, there's nothing out there, and the mental side is so big. So what's going on here? You know, it's like I want to
Yeah.
do this. I want to give a package to the players that they can work with, and yeah, I feel like right now was really the time. At first, I thought I have to really hurry this up, but then when I was into the process of making it, I said, you know what? I think I can slow down a little bit because nobody's going to do this for a while, like this big of a course, because it took so much effort to make this thing with all the videos, the workbooks, and it's still not done. I'm still working like on Japanese translations. I'm working together with Kamui now, really excited to bring out the whole website fully in Japanese for the market over there. That's going to be in the upcoming
Oh,
weeks.
wow. Okay.
So
Because
that's
I
really
know,
cool.
yeah, because you have this already translated in Spanish, is it Chinese Mandarin, or which languages do you have this already?
Yeah, it's the subtitles are in Spanish. Then we have German and we have Chinese.
German and
Yeah,
okay.
and I'm
Mhm.
working on Italian also,
Oh, great.
and I'm working on Japanese right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not sitting still. But we just have to be patient.
Well, good, good. So it's quite an extensive course. You know, you just discussed that. You got 6 sections, lots of videos, a workbook as well. Sounds like, you know, you've covered all the bases here, and a Skype call. So have you done any Skype calls yet? How has that, you know, experience been for you,
Yeah, I did a
doing
Skype
the
call.
Skype meetings with students?
Yeah, yesterday I had a Skype meeting with Mark Morris from the UK, and
Okay.
it was really cool. He had some really nice questions, and he actually came up with a form of tilt that I wasn't really aware of. He was explaining. I think he doesn't mind if I tell this. He was explaining a situation where he was playing a player
Mm-hmm.
who was really nagging about the rolls. So when Mark was getting some rolls, he would really rub it in, and he was getting frustrated by this. And then midway the match, you could see the rolls started to turn. So this opponent started getting rolls, and now it was like he was getting quiet. And Mark, of course, was thinking, "Oh, now you're happy," like, you know. So it's a form of tilt where you're
Mm-hmm.
frustrated about the guy's attitude, and
Yeah.
it's distracting you in your mind. And I thought this was really fascinating. So we spoke about that, and I was helping him with that. But it was kind of a new form of tilt, and that's also in the workbook. You can write down your own experiences that you go through. So I thought that was really cool. And we spoke about that he started meditating. That was really working great for him, he said. And also in the Corona time now, he said the first weeks of being home, he was bouncing off the walls because he was just there in the house, right, in quarantine with his
Mm-hmm.
thoughts. And he said the course really forced him to kind of work on himself and to start implementing some new techniques. And he said it was one of the best things he's done because he's more relaxed, and it's really helping him. So yeah, that's really positive feedback. It's great.
Yeah, you know, playing pool is a very fascinating sport because, I mean, it's, you know, there is a mental aspect to it that's really, really important. It's paramount, you know. But one thing that I found interesting is that your opponent can also push you mentally off your path. You know what I'm saying?
But also on the right path.
In what sense? You mean motivate you?
Yeah, I mean, if we talk about motivation, the ideal situation is that all your motivation comes from inside. It's intrinsic motivation.
Right.
And that means that you're firing yourself up because of your goals. The goal setting free course that I have that goes
Okay.
talks about that.
Yeah.
But of course, if you look at attitude, a part of the course, it's a great topic, attitude. I love this section. It's like 16 minutes long, and I go over all kind of attitude facets. And one of the things is also opponents, the way you look at your opponents. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of being afraid, like, oh God, I got to play this guy, right? It's like,
Right.
if there's a great player, you have to realize that that player is going to force you to focus. You have to focus 100%, right? And he's going to push you to your highest level.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was a youngster and I was playing Efren or Busti, I knew like these guys are going to pound me if I'm not on my game. So
Right.
it made me really focus hard, right? Already an
Yeah.
hour, 2 hours before the match, I was really getting ready for it. So like, you shouldn't be dependent on your opponent to do this, but if you have a really strong guy facing you or lady,
Right.
it can help you to bring out the best in your abilities. That's what I mean by that. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Yeah, you know, I can imagine people How has the course been going so far since you launched the site? By the way, the site again is Terminator-College.com. And it's the mental edge for competitive pool players and how to break through your inner roadblocks and unlock your true full potential. And when did you launch this? You launched this just less than 2 weeks ago, right?
I think it's been 3 weeks now.
Oh, 3 weeks.
Was it the 12th?
Good.
I think it was the 12th of May, Thursday. I think it was the 12th. Yeah. Things have been going great. I've had a lot of contact with people who were asking a lot of questions. We had some really good sales, some really great feedback from all kinds of countries. There's been sales in from a lot of different countries, also Qatar, USA, Germany.
Good.
A lot of variety. So it's been really exciting. And like I said, I'm not sitting still. I keep thinking about how I can improve things and add things like the subtitles now. So it's still work in progress in the sense that it's going to grow and expand, and it's not just one static thing for the next 10 years. But still, having said that, the product is out there, and that's the great thing. You know, there's like a big mental tool out there for pool players that want to get better.
Right.
And it's there for the taking. So that if they want to get stronger in their minds, then it's there forever. So it's great.
How about some of your students? Have they been peers of yours? Like some of them you already know that you know have potential.
We of course Fedor joined the course pretty fast.
Fedor Horst.
Yeah, that was great. That was, of course, I've known him, of course, since he was a kid.
Yeah, he's extremely talented player.
Talent or skilled. That's also the debate, right? I always refer to skilled because that kid works really, really hard. And talent is, in my opinion, very overrated because you see Joshua, Jason, Fedor, you can name all these guys. Oh, they got so much talent. But if you look at the quality hours that they pump into their training, it's not as much talent. They really work on their game, right?
Okay.
So it's just what you put into it is what you get out of it, and they are really good examples. What was I saying? And then we had also a lady player from Germany, Ina Kaplan. She joined, really good player. We had another German player, Christoph Reintjes. I've had many battles with him in the German league. Really, really strong player. Also one of the best straight pool players in Germany. He joined up. Then we had from Qatar, Mohammed. I'm missing his last name. But I've played him in the China Open. I remember last 64.
Okay.
And we also had from Kuwait, Badr. What's his last name? You're catching me off guard here. Badr. I played him last 64 in the World Championships last year.
Okay,
so not the last edition, but the year before. We played last 64. So very, very strong players. Like they played major tournaments like last 64, last 32.
Well, that has to feel good. It has to be a good indication to you that that the course that you're presenting is on a solid foundation, right?
Yeah, it's great, but I was pretty confident about that because the stuff I'm putting in there is for, like I said, for any level, but it's also stuff that I've worked with myself. So it's not just, here's a book, let's put this in and let's put this. I've been through the entire process of this course, the highs, but also the very, very lows. I talk about open wounds, shame and projection, things that people do not want to talk about, that when you're playing Mosconi Cup and things are not working for you, you want to crawl under the table, you want to get out of there, you're embarrassed, ashamed, you're wounded, right? So it's these things I also discuss from personal experience. And then of course the highs, when you win MVPs, world titles, if you're becoming a top pool player, you're going to experience everything, right? You're going to fall on your butt. You're going to stand on the top of the stage. It's all going to be there. It's not one easy ride to the top. But that makes it an adventure, right? And
yes.
Yeah. And that for me is actually the reason why I'm still playing, because every time I get to that airport, not now, but every time I step foot in the airport, I have no clue what's going to happen. I could win the whole thing, or I could win maybe one match and go out. But I try to have a great trip anyway. And I just love that adventure about the game. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So like last week, I think, Kamui, one of your sponsors, they released a video with you doing commentary describing the mental journey you had through a match with Dennis Orcollo at the World Pool Masters in 2018. I must say it was pretty in-depth analysis of what you as a professional goes through in a match. Has going through post-game analysis always been a part of your game?
Yes. Post-game analysis, yes, it has been. On some occasions, not as thorough as it could have been, because back then maybe I didn't have the tools. But if I'm serious about my game, the feedback loops that I have, that I work in within the course, post-match, the post-match stuff, that's great, because what it does for you is you can just write down the steps, like, okay, well, how was my preparation, my result, my analysis, and bring it back to the next practice session for the next event, right? So you create this loop, 10, 15 minutes, and you can go on with the rest of your day, instead of sitting in that hotel room like this,
brooding.
Oh, what have I done?
Right.
You idiot, right? And then you have actually a lousy day, and you're actually really hurting yourself, because it's a lot of negative talk, and you could go into a dip instead of realizing, like, hey, what were the things that actually went really well? Hey, I was breaking really well. I was jumping really well. Yeah, I just missed that ball in 7-7. That was pretty easy, but you know what I mean? So maybe you weren't even playing bad. You were playing really good, but you made one critical error, but that doesn't mean you're out of stroke or whatever. So it gives you a lot of insight in analyzing your stuff more like an athlete and not like somebody who doesn't know what he's doing.
Right. You have to be somewhat detached from your own performance in a way.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And that helps you, if you see that stuff in front of you, it helps you to be more objective to what actually went on, instead of only emotional about what went on.
Yeah.
So, of course, if you lose a match, you're not going to be happy, but it could very well be that you just played a good match and things just, right, they got out of control. And that's also the nature of 9-ball. The most tournaments we play are 9-ball tournaments. There is just this 10-15% of luck variance in the game.
Yeah.
Right? You can break great, park the cue ball in the middle of the table, and get kicked in the corner. Yeah. Stuff like that. Or the guy misses a ball and you're stuck behind. Things that are just out of your hands. So you have to keep playing the game the right way, and the variance will eventually turn back to even the more tournaments and matches you play.
Well, that's the reality of the game, isn't it? You're gonna have those bad moments, and probably one of the toughest obstacles mentally is the difficulty in letting those moments go, and being able to recognize those moments as something that's out of your control. You can't always control the outcome of how the ball breaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and also for mistakes, I remember the year I won the world title, 2014, I was working really hard on my mental game and my tactical game all in the same year. And things were really coming together during the World Championships. And it wasn't because I was playing flawless. But it was because if I made an error, I was mentally so fit, I could put it aside immediately and bounce back twice as hard. If I made an error, boom, next rack, break and run out, right? I was like stepping it up instead of letting it affect me. And that, if you do a lot of mental positive work, that's the reward you're going to get. You get so strong with your awareness, how your own mental traps work, and you can catch yourself much quicker when you get mentally a little weak, and you can adapt much faster.
So right now, we're kind of in quarantine here in the United States. I don't know what the situation. You're in Denmark right now, is that correct?
Right.
Okay. Don't know what the situation is there. You feel free to elaborate on that. But what's taking up more time for you lately? Are you practicing? Are you getting back into the game at all? I know that you're working to compete on a small level, right, with some online tournaments. But is this course taking up a lot of your time? Have you had time for family? What's a typical day for you now?
Well, when I came back from Vegas, like you said, we also went into quarantine, and that's over 10 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I had to do a lot of work with the kids. It was a lot of homeschool things going on. So in the mornings, I was working with the oldest, Lena, and like for over 2 hours doing schoolwork. Then in the afternoons, we would go on trips, keep the kids involved, entertained. We could still go outside, because if you're stuck in the house, that wouldn't improve anything. We were still allowed to go into nature. So we did a lot of walks and things like that. And then gradually I had more time to work on the project, the course. I said, you know what, I'm really gonna hammer this project now, because I have time. So I want to put in at least 2-3 hours a day of filming, editing, working on the workbook, the quick learn guides, computer stuff. So I really started dedicating myself to that part. And that just meant that my pool game, I just set aside for a moment, because there was no light at the end of the tunnel for when we were going to compete.
Yeah.
So I was really in good stroke when I was in Vegas. And so it was a downer that I had to go home.
You had to actually drop out of the world Predator event, didn't you?
I chose to leave the first event, the Predator.
I mean, they canceled it anyway, but you left early anyways, didn't you?
No, they canceled the second event,
and
I left the first event because
the
news went so quick and things escalated so fast that my airline company wrote out a news message that they were not going to fly out of the USA during the lockdown, the announced lockdown from Trump. And that kind of went into a process of like, okay, what's really happening here? And we were talking with the federation. I was talking with my dad, who called me in the middle of the night, and he doesn't call me for no reason. Like major decisions in my life, I've dealt with him, like selling my house, things like that. So when he called me up, I was like, this is really serious stuff. I have to make a decision here. And we spoke with various people for 2-3 hours in the middle of the night till 3 a.m. And I decided like I could get stuck here for a couple of months. And I have young kids back home and my wife. And I said, I'm not taking a chance. I'm going back home.
Yeah.
And things escalated in Vegas, and they canceled event number 2, which I thought was a good move personally. But here in Denmark, actually, things have been opening up more and more. They were really fast with locking things down. So they had things under control pretty quick. And the positive thing about Denmark is that pretty much all the countryside is very spread out. So you have Copenhagen with over 1 million people. That's where a lot of corona cases were. But then the rest of the country have like villages and small towns. So the infection rate wasn't that critical, and it was under control quick. So the schools have been open now for 4 weeks.
Great.
And yeah, people have been allowed to gather up now with over 10, 20 people.
Okay.
So I've been cycling with the local club with over 10 people, stuff like that. You know, it's still, you can have some social activities.
Good.
And, yeah.
Good.
And the game, I've been competing in the WSA Arena, the online event they've been holding. I'm trying to get back a stroke through that because I got to play the 15-ball Ghost, which is brutal. So
well, where are you ranking right now within that competition?
I won my first 2 matches, and then I lost the third. And I've played my 4th match this morning, so that was in the last 25 of the loser side, I think.
Right.
And I'm still waiting if that was good enough. I ran 6 racks out of 15, which is decent.
Playing 15 ball?
Playing 15. If I'm running 6, 7, or 8 racks, I'm happy. I mean,
yeah.
It's tough. It's super tough. Because if you break and you get clusters, and sometimes you can't even open them up after the break. So
right,
it's hard. So, but that's good. It's good to get the competitive juices out. So.
Yeah. I mean, you're not beating the Ghost, but 6 out of 15 is it's pretty amazing. It's amazing.
So,
well,
I wonder about Jay, because they said somewhere that Jason Shaw has the hot seat. I don't really know how that works, but he must have won a tournament with the 15-ball Ghost or something. I'm not sure.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
That's got to be really different, though, or maybe not, Niels. The mental aspect of your game when you're just playing the Ghost versus playing a real life opponent. Is there a comparison there? Have you been noticing it?
Oh yeah, I've been struggling with those things. I get really confronted with my focus, also because I haven't been playing that much. So my daydream moments are way more intense. And of course, you're not playing in a tournament setup where there's tables here, tables there, and you have that tournament vibe. You're just in your own comfort room.
Right. There's no crowd to feed off of either.
No. So the vibe is a little bit different. So you really have to prepare well. I know match 3, I had to do some computer work in the morning, and it was taking up some time. And then I had to do the challenge because I ran into time problems, and my focus was just not there. So this morning I said, listen, I want to get a good session in. I'm going to go meditate in the morning, get ready, and then I want to do my inning. And my focus was much better. So,
is there visualization that you go through too?
I have done many visualizations. Yeah, that's part of the course. There's a great book, which I'm not going to tell, but that I deal with a lot of great exercises from that. And I know Phil Jackson from the Chicago Bulls, which is nice now with the Last Dance documentary. He has used stuff from that book to work with the Chicago Bulls players. Very powerful visualization tools. The bottles exercise. Check out the course.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Once again, that's that is the Terminator-College.com. I really like I love that image of you sitting on the 8-ball on the water there. What beach is that?
It's not me.
Oh, that's not you?
No.
Okay. That's funny.
We spoiled it. No, my
and those aren't real balls in the water either.
No. My stepdad. It's at least the second husband of my mother, stepdad.
Okay.
He's a graphical designer, and he put the balls in there. I saw the stones, and I had this idea. I said, "Man, if we make pool balls out of those stones, this is like a great picture for the front of the course." So,
yeah, it's always the creative process of an enterprise like this is always exciting, isn't it?
Yeah,
it
is.
Good.
You have to find pictures. You have to learn how to videotape yourself. You have to work on the lighting, on the sound, on slideshows, all this kind of stuff. The software for the online platform, et cetera, et cetera. So
it's a big learning curve for you.
yeah,
That's not just the mental part. That's just technical knowledge.
yeah, all technical knowledge. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah,
but also frustrating because sometimes you just don't know how things work in the software, and you have to send a mail to the support desk. You have to wait a few days. You have to dig on YouTube, like, how does this work?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like,
well, if you take YouTube, for example, they change their platform like every couple of months. You're like,
yeah,
wait a minute, I was just doing it a certain way for the last couple of months. Now I got to change my whole procedure. That's
the same for Facebook, actually, because
Facebook too. Yeah.
The Facebook Live now with the whole new live producer, and then the camera doesn't work on this thing. You have to go back to the old thing. So it's all these technical details, and I'm investing now in getting new cameras set up for the table here at home, because the quality is really low. So I've bought new camera, I've bought new Wi-Fi, bought new routers. So I got to get all that stuff up and running in the next week. And then the quality is going to be much better.
Well, that's great. And speaking of which, for the viewer out there who wants to follow you, who wants to watch you streaming from your home studio, or any of the events that you're competing in that are online, is there any way that we can follow you besides just Facebook, or is there a YouTube channel?
There's no YouTube channel as yet, but I might start implementing that depending on what's going to work better. I think I will start with Facebook Live in the beginning, but YouTube's also a good way to link the both of those platforms together. Okay. But I think what I want to support and bring more forward is that people nowadays, they're really addicted to the highlights. They want to see that one run out of a drill, but that's not really the reality of the world. and it's not really the reality of how a professional gets to the level of running out that drill. Yeah. What's also interesting is that he has to put in the hours of deliberate practice before he can run that rack. So what I want to do is just show the training session, and not one great shot that I made in the training session, because I feel it's not a thing. It's great, it's entertaining, but it's also something that's a little bit taking away from reality. And people, I feel it's a little bit dangerous, because people nowadays think that everything should go easy and fast, and that's just not how it is. You have to put the time in.
It kind of reminds me of that that Chris Melling run out from the world.
Against Mika.
Yeah, against Mika, where like every shot was like incredibly difficult and lucky as well, if you think about it. I mean, he's an amazing player. Sure. Don't get me wrong, but for him to be able to do that again, like. Very difficult, Yeah,
super entertaining, but
super entertaining.
Yeah. But people could have the impression now when they see Chris jack up for a Mesa, like, why didn't he make it?
Yes. I've said that in commentary, that we as viewers, sometimes we put too much pressure on these players because we expect so much, Yeah. And I even get comments on my YouTube channel when I have champions playing that are not very becoming of the players. They say, "Oh, these guys are terrible," or whatever. You don't know. You obviously don't watch matches in their entirety, because that's just the way pool is sometimes, right?
Yeah, you have to realize that people also have to climb into a match sometimes, and they have to grow into a match.
It's true.
And the danger nowadays is, he's not running out right 5 racks right out of the gate. Zap, next match.
Right. Exactly.
And that's when we were buying the Accustat VHS, that period, we were watching one video 10 times. And you could watch it from an offensive angle, defensive angle, the one player struggling, getting back in the game. You could, the position play, the tactical side, you could learn a ton of things out of one match. But I feel the danger now sometimes is the entertainment factor, because there's so much out there. It's like next. And you have to understand that's not really how these players become great players. They also struggle, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, thank you for your time today. I do have one more question. For those who don't know you, you are a competitive player. You've like I said, your resume is extensive in professional pool. What about action matches? I know I've never really heard of you to get into a $10,000 head-to-head match or some type of a gambling scenario. Did you walk away from that? Was that a decision you made, a conscious decision?
When I was early 20s, I was gambling a lot when I was touring the US. I think I visited almost half the states in the country between my 20th and 23rd.
Okay.
And then I chose to become a professional. And the professional side of the sport is more the tournament scene. You can get sponsors through the tournament scene. You can get invitations to bigger tournaments, invitational tournaments, etc. So if you want to play the sport in that sense as an athlete, you have to go tournaments. But I do miss the action because it gives you an opportunity to play your A game longer or play the game longer. What I sometimes don't like about tournaments is you play one match a day and you have to go back to the hotel room. So you finally feel you warmed up and the match is over. And we all started playing pool to play pool and not to play one match a day, right? We want to play. So that's what I do miss. I do miss the longer sets, but I have a young family and it's sometimes just hard to combine, because if you have a big match, you have to fly in, jet lag, acclimate. So it's like, boom, another week. And I'm already gone 5 months out of the year, 6 months out of the year with tournaments.
I see.
So at the moment, it's a little bit tougher.
I sorry to interrupt you, but I have to say, I'm sure that you've been approached, right? Someone says, "Hey, I'll back you in a match." You haven't got, but you've declined. Is that correct?
No, there was only one or two times where we came close. We were I don't know if I should say it's no big deal.
I don't need names. You just.
No, I was almost going to play one or two Americans, but then at the end it had to be in their room, and the backer that I spoke with, he said, I don't really want to go there, and so it kind of fell apart because I was almost going to fly in and play that match.
Oh, okay.
It was getting really close. So potentially in the future, I wouldn't mind playing a few games because I do enjoy it. But as of now, it's a little bit tough to combine.
I would imagine too that from the perspective of your course as well, that it's a different side of the mental game, right? Because the difference between being in a tournament and between being in an action match, there are many aspects of that competition that are so different, like playing much longer sessions, having to deal with your opponent on a long-term basis.
Yeah, true. It's the opponent comes more into play, right? You're not only playing the game then, because you have to start thinking about his strengths or weaknesses on push-outs. stuff like that. And stamina is a big thing.
Stamina,
Fatigue,
yeah.
right? Equipment is maybe different pressure.
Yeah.
But I think I heard Alex Pagulayan say this once in an interview with a bunch of players. We were all there in the Philippines, and I agreed on this. He said the action matches complement the tournament player, and the tournament matches complement the action player. You both pick up things that you can put in the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah, like a tool bag.
Like a tool, like for tournament players are used to finishing the matches more, where an action player, if he loses the set, he's just, all right, let's flip it again.
Flip the coin, yeah.
Flip the coin. So the pressure of finishing is different, unless it's really a huge set. So for an action player, you see a lot that they're used to the freewheeling, fast, boom, lose, and they have a harder time with the grinding part of the tournament. And the tournament player is used to more percentage play, and he has a harder time maybe to let go, to just rip it, right? To actually save energy by letting his whole game just explode, because he has plenty of time to adjust. So I think that is an interesting psychological factor. Like both sides can complement each other.
Yeah, that's good insight from Alex Pagulayan. Well, great. Niels, I really appreciate your time with us. You also have, I just want to tell the viewers out there, I want to recommend that they go to your website and look at the course. You also have a free part of the course as well, like Masterful. Isn't there a Masterful goal setting?
Yeah.
Now that's a free course that they can take right now. Is that correct?
Correct. The Masterful goal setting is 6 videos. It's 6 steps of how to make a goal setting schedule for yourself. Very powerful stuff. And I wanted to give that as a freebie to all the pool players, and also to try my skills in that department, the production side, and see how things were working. I was very satisfied. And then I took it a step further with the full course, and that's of course a totally different level. And you get the 30-minute Skype one-on-one. There's way more extra content, 33 videos. So it's very complete, and of course from 25 years of experience. So that's the next step.
Yeah. Well, great. So from every skill level, please check out the free Masterful Goal Setting for Competitive Players curriculum. And when you're ready to take your mental game to the next level, enroll in the Mental Edge for Competitive Pool Players. Go to Terminator-College.com. I'm speaking with Niels Feijen, the brains and the brawn behind the idea. And I want to thank you for being a guest on POV Pool, Niels. Is there anything that you can leave us with?
No, I just want to say, it's in different parts of the world. It's different emotions right now. Some people are very frustrated and sad. Maybe family has been hit by the corona. Some people are getting very edgy. They can't play. I think we all have to try and be patient and, stay safe. And if you can, I just really advise you to go outside. I also see a lot of people, they're getting slightly depressed because they're staying indoors so much, and it's just gonna drive you crazy. Just go outside, enjoy the springtime.
Yeah.
Get air, get light. Maybe start working out.
Yeah.
To also blow off some steam, right? Some frustration and getting locked up. Start running, start biking. I think that's walking. I think that's very positive things for your well-being. So,
yeah, especially pool players who can't play pool because, like my friend Chris Swart, he owns California Billiards. He said, we're pool players. We just want to get out there and bitch about the equipment and, talk about the matches that we could have won, or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
We just want to get out there and talk. Like we're
Yeah.
pool players, and that's how we are.
It's like caged up tigers right
I
now.
know it's frustrating for me too. This was a difficult. I've shared this before on my podcast. I had a difficult process of acceptance of this whole situation.
Yeah.
So so I think I hope I'm overcoming it. But once again, Niels, thank you so much for spending time with us. Also, Niels has a Facebook page, Niels Feijen Official on Facebook. And, once
Niels
again.
The Terminator Feijen Official.
What's that?
Niels The Terminator Feijen.
Oh, okay. And Niels
Yeah.
The Terminator Feijen, because there's another. Oh, yeah. Yes, that's true. The title of your Facebook. That's true. Niels The Terminator Feijen. And once again, that is terminator-college.com for the Terminator College course. So thanks a lot again, Niels.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Daniel.
You're welcome. Thank you.